Yudi, and then we'll get going. Okay, tonight's class is dedicated in the memory of Bilha Bastvor Avraham, even though Nira can't be with us. So 2 Shabbases ago, of course, was Gimel Tammuz, the 3rd of Tammuz. It was his 28th anniversary since the Rebbe's passing. And I personally went to the Ohel for Shabbos. I actually didn't stay there. I stayed nearby at my parents' house, about 5 miles away. And Shabbos afternoon, I walked. And while I was there, because it's a long day, I see my friend, Rabbi Yudi Shteiger, with his friend, who we still hope is going to be on, Seth.
He said he's coming on now. So.
All right. Wonderful. Well, we'll be looking for him.
All right.
So I thought, hey, let's have them on and talk about their experience and what prompted them to make this trip together and spend it Shabbos at the oil. It's a long Shabbos. It's a very crowded time. And let's talk about it. So let's give Rabbi Shteiger a little background as to how this project began. So ever since COVID began back in March 2020, like the rest of the world, so we all went to Zoom. Here he is.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Hey, how's everyone?
Well, we were getting worried about you. Now, where did you disappear to? Oh, there you are.
All right. Yeah, well, I didn't know till this morning, and I had an appointment to go pick up my boat. I'm still out of breath.
Right. We'll go easy on you here. Not a lot of physical exercise. Right. I was just giving everybody a little introduction. So ever since COVID, back in March of 2020, every night we have a few minutes of Torah learning. Initially, it was about getting ready for Pesach, and it was so well received that we decided to continue doing it. So Monday through Thursday, we have 10 minutes of Torah study. And on Tuesdays, we feature special guests. We've had Chabad rabbis from Taiwan and other far-flung places. We've had students who go to Chabad on campus. And I was mentioning to our crowd here that when I went to the Ohel 2 weeks ago for the Rebbe's 28th anniversary of his passing, I got to meet Rabbi Yudi and Seth, and we had a nice conversation. And I thought, wow, they would be really interesting guests to have on. So first of all, thank you very much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. And let's get started with some, basic introduction. So whoever wants to go first, tell us where you're from, where are you now, and what brought you from where you are to where you were to where you are.
All right, who wants to go first?
You get to go first.
I get to go first. All right. Well, I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My mom moved us out to the West Coast when I was a little kid. Stayed out west, graduated from college, UNLV. There's my thing back there. And got a degree in business. And I stayed out there, moved to Los Angeles, and worked for a company that many of you have probably heard of called ADP, Automatic Data Processing, big payroll giant, where I worked for about 17 years in the LA area, worked my way up to vice president of sales. And then they moved me to the East Coast to be at the corporate office in Roseland, New Jersey. And I got recruited for a technology company to be their VP of sales out here. Moved here about 2.5 years ago. And that's when I met Rabbi. I would say, June of 2020, Rabbi?
Oh, wow, right in the middle of COVID. So you are.
Great time to move. And
you can tell them who referred you to me.
So what's funny is, I kind of disconnected from my Jewish religion after my bar mitzvah, like so many. And then years later, decided I wanted to come back to it. And I had been out on the West Coast involved with some different temples, some conservative, some reformed. I was very actively involved. I was the board of directors. I was like the fundraising chairman on one synagogue and the membership director in another. And so I was telling my carpet cleaning guy, who I had just moved here, who is Christian, by the way. He's like, oh, you have to connect with Chabad out here. The rabbi is great. How do you know this? You're not even Jewish. So he connected me with Rabbi, and we hooked up, and Rabbi came out and put a mezuzah on my door, and we've done a lot of stuff together since then. Lots of stuff, from building sukkah-mobiles to taking the kids out to shoot rockets to pretty much everything. And so rabbis really helped me become, much more connected with Judaism. this was my second time at the OL. We went last year too, and what's the shop, Rabbi, where they inspected my grandfather's tefillin? We brought it to Brooklyn. I had two sets of them, and neither of them, unfortunately, were kosher. So I bought a very nice set of tefillin for myself. In fact, I wrapped today. I also did my morning shop.
Hey, me too.
You did? Oh, I'm sure you did. So yeah, and so Rabbi and I, ever since then, we've been, pretty involved together in different things. Going to shul. I need to do more, but he's really helped me, really reconnect with my religion, and also, helping out and doing things for Rabbi and his family, and it's been a really great relationship. He's always been there for me, and when he needs something, he can call me, and he knows I'll be there, whatever it is, fixing faucets at his house or making a minyan at shul.
Beautiful. Coming on the Zoom. Okay, fantastic. So you're from Philadelphia, moved out to LA. Now you're in Park City, Utah. Rabbi Shteiger, what's your story? How did you wind up in Park City, Utah?
Good question. So I ask myself that question every day. But I was born in Belgium, Antwerp, and my wife's actually from Israel. We met in New York, and we moved to Park City. It's going to be this summer, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Park City, Utah, and it's been an amazing experience since then. The way it worked, the way today in the Chabad world, there's no one who's going to tell you have to move to this place, you got to go there, you're assigned there, you have no choices. We really wanted to go somewhere, and then we knew from a young age that we wanted to be part of the big Chabad network and make an impact on the world. And so right after we got married, we started looking different positions, and the rabbi in Salt Lake City, which I think you may have met also before, was good friends with his nephew, and he called up his uncle and says, I got a good guy, because his uncle was from Milan, Italy, and he says, another European, it might work out. And and so it was it took about I would say probably about 6 to 8 months until we actually started the being in touch, until we actually made the move to Park City. And and since then it's been for sure during COVID, the community has grown a lot. It's a lot of people came out to the mountains. It's beautiful, and we invite you also whenever you're in Park City, if you ever want to get out there. It's beautiful in the winter. In the summer, we have all 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. So what is the community like in Park City? I mean, just give us some rough numbers. How many Jews approximately live in Park City? What is the Jewish community like a little bit in Park City? Then we want to talk about your trip to the OHEL.
You have Park City has it's very diverse. You have people that live here all year round, people that have a second home. A lot of Florida people want to get away from the heat in the summer. They'll come here. During the summer months. A lot of people come here during the winter. So it's very interesting. So this past, just to give you an idea how different things can be, we had a Shabbat over the winter with 400 people at shul.
400, wow.
And by contrast, this past Shabbat we were probably about between 15 and 20 maybe people at shul. Wow. So just to give you the difference, and how things could be different, depending on who, if it's a time of the year when a lot of the schools have off and everyone comes skiing, then we'll be packed, and when it's not too much off season, then we'll get smaller Shabbat. But the number out there is that about, I'm maybe a little exaggerated, that between 15 to 20% of Park City people are Jewish.
Wow.
I don't know if it's probably a little high, but for sure. A week or two ago, I went with my kids to the park, met another Jewish person. You meet very often. You'll go to the supermarket, you'll meet another, but you'll meet someone new in the community. So there's always, you always, there are certainly people around, and so
So Seth, take us to your trip to the oil. I mean, had you ever been to the oil? Have you ever heard of the oil before you met Rabbi Shteiger? And to make a commitment like that, to go twice now for Shabbos, I mean, how did that sort of come about? Like, how did that work? You just said, hey, you want to go spend the Shabbos with me at a cemetery?
Well, the first time, as far as the initial, visit, how that transpired, Rabbi had told me it wasn't Shabbat, obviously last year, but he told me all about it, the experience, and seeing, Rabi's grave and all that, and it sounded interesting. And then he said, "Hey, also, I got to bring back a Torah." So I was like, he's like, will you help? I'm like, sure. So that's how we went the very first time, and was a great experience. And this time when it came up again, all Rabbi had to do is mention it to me. This is back in, I don't know, March or April. He mentioned it. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. I go, but since it's Shabbat, we better book an Airbnb right away, because we knew we would have to walk. And so immediately I booked something. What was it, March or April, Rabbi? I got us a very nice place it was about 10-12 minute walk, 2-bedroom place. This worked out really great. Had we waited, I don't know what we would have done. We would have been in the
what
tent
was it
city.
like? You were sleeping in the tent. So what was it like for you? What can you share with us? Some of the people here on the call, I think probably all of them have actually been to the OL, probably all of them, many of them. But what was it like for you at your first experience, and then to have a full Shabbos experience there, to see probably 2,500 people? Like, give us a feel for what you went through.
Yeah. So, the first year it was just overwhelming how many people there were there. But I quickly, got past that when I saw, how friendly everybody was and how interactive it was. And it's a combination of like it. And those of you who've been there know that it can be a little chaotic, but it's a good chaos, if that makes sense. Like, everybody's free to do their own thing and talk to people and come and go as they please. And so, for me, it was, really like a very positive feel. Like, really, I felt much more connected with my Judaism than I have in years, even in other temples, and not just, to the religion, but, to Hashem, to Rabbi, and the rest of the Jewish community, here in Park City. And I met people when I was there all over the place. Our first experience there was, we walked over because it was Shabbos, and we were there Friday. It was just, amazing. People, everybody was praying, and people just felt like, I don't know, I just felt, like I said, I actually got chills the first time. I was like, wow, all my Jewish brethren all here in one place for a common purpose. And I felt like, I don't want to use the word safe because I'm a level 10 black belt in Kung Fu, but
I'm glad you're on our side.
I just felt like, wow, like untouchable. And what a great experience it was to be, among this many Jewish people. I'm still relearning Hebrew from my bar mitzvah. Rabbi has been helping me with that. But so, but when we did prayers, Rabbi got me an English sitter, so I was able to follow along. And it was just an absolutely amazing experience. So he got me and Aliyah on, it was the afternoon prayers, right, Rabbi, on Saturday. So, which was quite a feat because it was pretty bad. I met some really interesting people. Obviously I met you there. I met a guy named Ellie, who is from South Africa, of all places. He had recently moved to New York. His father's a rabbi, and we were having lunch. The food and everything was great. It was very well organized, and just people just come up and talk to you. He just sat down, and I think he saw the martial arts shirt, and he's like a weightlifter like me, and he's training, and we just sat down and just started talking. I met another rabbi from Long Island, and he shared some really interesting information with me about my name and Rabi's philosophy. And everybody was very open and just talked to me and, shared stories with me about Rabi, or had some really, interesting things to impart, wisdom-wise to me about the religion. I met a rabbi from Idaho. I met people. What's that?
I know the rabbi from Idaho. His brother is married to my daughter.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we had dinner with him, if I remember right, Rabbi. I think it was on Shabbat.
Sure.
Right.
And he told the story about Rabi, how he would give out the dollars.
Sure.
And he gave out to a family, to a woman, like $3. And he said, one of them is for your daughter. And she was 51. And she was like, okay, don't know what that means. But turns out later on, she had a daughter.
Oh, wow.
So, wow. Yeah. Very, very interesting story. Like I said, it's everybody we're all one unified, cohesive group. And, I've never really experienced anything like that before. Yeah. And, I make the joke because it's really, really crowded, especially, this one, because it was Shabbos. It was really jammed. You were there. So I always tell people who haven't been, it's, like the famous rapper Ice Cube once said, when they push and shove, it's only love. So,
so Rabbi Yudi, what was it like for you to experience Shabbos at the Oil with Seth? How did that change your experience at the Oil to have Seth with you? You've obviously been to the Oil, many times before, but how did it change your experience to have Seth along with you?
So it's certainly something. I mean, as you mentioned, I've personally been there all the time, and it's something I wanted to share. For me, it's the one of the highlights. I usually go there around 4 or 5 times a year. I go to the Oil. And I took a trip a couple of months ago. It landed from Salt Lake City 1 a.m. It was right before Passover for the Rabbi's birthday, and I had a flight back at 6:30 a.m. So just like really 5 hours in and out. So I do these kind of trips like 4 or 5 times a year to go to Ohel. So for me, to me personally, it is very meaningful, and it's something I want to share with the community. I want to be able to the community to feel, the holiness and the specialness, what it is to be there. So certainly to be there with Seth, and by the way, Seth is we're very lucky to have him in the community, not only because he fixes the faucets and because he teaches me guitar, but he's just he's always
to be your personal bodyguard.
My personal bodyguard. Bodyguard. It's just always. It's always smile, and it's not, and the kids also. Seth says knows that the kids always are asking me about Seth when Seth is around. And so being Seth over there, and we were, learning. We had a little booklet we were learning from where it says Rabi, that Rabi is also an acronym for Rosh B'nai Yisrael, which means a head. A head feels every part of the body. So the Rabi feels every single Jew, and anywhere another Jew can be in Timbuktu, wherever it may be, the Rabi always feels and has a love for every Jew. So to be able to actually have another person from the community to have Seth experience this, to me was personally was very it was special, and it's also feeling proud, kind of being able to bring someone from the community to the Ohel. For me, it was certainly very different. I don't know if Seth wouldn't have come. I don't know if I would have gotten the Airbnb, and I don't know if I would have slept in the tents. I don't know if I would have gone altogether.
So he brought you more than you brought him. He brought you.
He brought me, so perhaps he brought me.
Beautiful. Okay, well, Rabbi and Seth, I want to thank you so much. I want to respect your time. We really appreciate your sharing your perspective. It really gave us a whole new understanding. Just looking at the people here, some have been with us. We've gone to Shabbos at the Oil, not only for Gimel Tammuz throughout the year, and other day trips here from Chicago. You can fly in the morning and fly back at night. So we'll take advantage of that. And I think you got everybody inspired that we should make another trip. COVID's behind us, thank God. Everybody's healthy. But we can take a 6 a.m. flight in and take a 10 p.m. flight back and spend the day at the Oil and 770 and so on. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. God bless. And remember, everybody, tomorrow night, we'll see you again from Irish. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.